Hello viewers, today we will be removing the bearings from this Emperor ceiling fan. This is model number AC-852. In order to get the bearings out, you have to pull the switch housing off, so all the wiring in here must be undone. Now when you undo that, you have to be very careful to make a good diagram, because this does not necessarily follow any kind of standard, and so if you lose place of where the wires go, you're going to have a very difficult time getting it back together. So that's my diagram. If you want to see it, you can pause the video, but let's proceed into here for now. We'll need to get that nut off, which is going to be extremely difficult to do. To help make it a little bit easier, I'm going to start on the other side. We're going to remove the housing. Okay, now we're going to remove the down rod attachment piece, whatever it's called. Surprised that wasn't more difficult to get off. And I always like to put screws back where they came from whenever I'm working with things that I don't work with every day, just so that there's less possibility of confusion later on. Especially in a case like this too, where this project is going to span the course of probably several weeks. Okay. Now we have to get this housing off. And the difficulty here is that there's just no good angle to access that with any kind of a wrench. I'm going to put a screwdriver here like this so I can hold it in place. I'm going to put this one through here. I'm going to try to turn the whole housing off. There we go. Okay, so now that the nut has been broken free, I should be able to remove it properly with the wrench from here. Oh, it actually looks like it'll just come off by hand. Okay, so that's the housing off, so washer there, and that's that. So now we can split the motor open and get the bearings off. Okay. So now that part is off. I'll set that aside for now. And we have to get the bottom half off of the bearing. Just looks like it's going to be kind of difficult to do that. Alright, so now the next thing we got to do is let's see here. We're gonna have to pull these wires through, and that's never easy. Blue wire we can just push through, and a white wire we can pull through, and actually the black wire we can pull through as well. So now we'll be able to put the puller on here and get the top bearing off. You have to use the smaller puller. Now this is going to be a flaky fit here because of the way the windings are coming out. There we go, it's on there. Okay. Get some tension on here. And if all goes well, we can just tighten this up and the bearing will come off. Okay, the bearing is loose now, and it's going to be stubborn. Oh, go figure. It was only the bottom one that spoiled. Whatever, I'm going to replace them both anyways. And it got stuck here at the end, so I'm going to have to pull it off a little bit more. Okay, that's off. There's our number, 62022. Now we have to get the bottom bearing off. And this is where it gets super flaky because you have to pull the wires through. And these are all right up against the where the windings go in, and it's just not a nice situation. There's a string here which I'm going to have to cut off because otherwise I won't be able to pull the wires through. Not exactly sure what purpose that serves or why it's necessary, but it's got to go. It's tied in a knot here that I have to get that knot out as well. Okay, now we should be able to pull these wires through with a lot of care because you don't want to break the wires off from where the windings are. But it is going to take some effort to get these out. And it's going to take some time too. Okay, there's one of them. Two. Three. Four. Gets much easier as you go along and there's less wires in there. Five. And six. Now we have to use even more caution than we was using before because all these wires are still attached to the windings. You don't want to jack anything up surrounding that. Now what we're going to do here with this is I'm going to use the bigger puller this time, and I'm going to grab onto the motor housing itself since it seems to want to be ill cooperative for whatever reason it may have. I may have to get the bigger puller out for this. Let's see if I can make this one work. I may be able to make this work. Okay, it's grabbed hold of everything now. I'm going to take a screwdriver and stick it through the top so that it can't move. I don't want these wires flexing around up there. And begin to pull it off. Where's my other wrench? This one's probably too big, yeah. It's the beauty of an adjustable wrench. Now it moved a little bit, but not enough. May have to get the bigger puller out. Let's give it one more shot with this one. No, it's getting it. No, it's not going evenly. No good, no good. See if that'll come off by itself. Nope. Alright, we're going to have to get the bigger puller out. This is a much better fit. Should have just used this one to start with. Always use the right tools. Unless you don't have them, then use whatever you have. Okay, that's off. Now we have to do the bearing here. Go back to the mid-size puller. Did I use the smaller puller? I don't even remember. We'll use this puller. This is very close to the winding, so we're going to use a lot of care so that nothing slips. You know what, I did use the smaller puller and I'm going to use it again. Okay, this is coming under a lot of pressure at this point because it seems to be stuck on there pretty good. Now if it doesn't come off, you can take a hammer and start tapping on it, of course very carefully, see if that'll free it up a little bit. Doesn't seem to be. Okay, it's starting to move now. It's just taking a lot of effort. Okay, there we go. Uh-oh. Okay, the bearing puller drilled into the shaft. I didn't realize that was transpiring. Okay, it wasn't too bad. I should have put a socket on there so that it didn't do that. Doesn't look like it did any irreparable damage, but that should have put a socket on there to stop that. Okay, anyways. So that's it. The bearings are off. These are both... Oh, this one's screwed. These are both... where's the other one? They're both 62022 bearings. So we'll go put that number into the computer. Hopefully we'll be able to find a replacement set. And we'll get those in and replace it.